Nothing like a little sunshine. Got sand on your feet and a big bass line. Moving slow, cause we've got time. You sparkles out, party at mine. Check out the view, shades low. Started at 2, now we're going to go. Come to my party, all of your friends are here, and we're all smiling ear to ear. Come disappear.
I'm all in.
I'm all in. All in.
But there's a king on the turn!
Me. It's never easy in poker.
Who the f is this guy?
Ooh, I'm in good shape right now.
The town takes it down! Like it's like holes, and it's over!
Hello everyone, welcome to Barcelona and the PokerStars European Poker Tour. This is day 4 of the record-breaking EPT Barcelona main event, the day we play down to 2 tables. $259 players return for day 3, all in the money and all looking to spin it up. 2014 PCA champ Dominic Panker got off to a great start, eliminating online legend Chris Moorman. But the reigning Barcelona champ was not so lucky. Sebastian Sorensen's scarf did not bring him the same good fortune as last year. It was a shock when start-of-day chip leader Ben Wilanowski busted in 123rd place, falling victim to a huge cooler. And Panker's run good finally ran out during the last level of the day. Then, with just 20 minutes left on the clock, Jamie Staples got coolered by Ben Heath. House over house. Jamie's elimination in 60th place saw him just miss out on scoring his biggest ever live cash. Irish player Mark Buckley ended day 3 bagging a stack of 2.65 million. He is the chip leader, coming in to day 4. So let's take a look at the 10 biggest stacks of the 56 players remaining in this event. Buckley has 132 big blinds, just ahead of Fabiano Kowalski. We've got a former champ in the top 10, Ognian Dimov. He's got a stack of 1.72 million, 86 big blinds, with the blinds at 10,000, 20,000, with a big blind ante of 20K. This is level 22 of the main event. So let's look at the lineup on the main stage. I'm pleased to say we have got the tourney boss at the feature table. Buckley headlines this 8-handed feature table. We've also got Dimov. We've also got Ali Tariq, a player who coincidentally was on our very first feature table at the start of our live coverage on day 2. We've also got Jamie O'Connor from the UK, Peter Nijinsky from Poland, Salam Charati, Yuri Horak, and Martin Alfonso. As we get the action started on day 4, our ambition to play down to the final 16, our goal to get down to the final 2 tables. Reckon we'll get there, Joe?
Well, we're either going to play the final 16 or what, till what, De Mayo levels?
Oh, nice throwback. Randy, you're never going to hear the end of that one, I'm afraid. Yes, the ambition is to play 6 full levels, which would take us to around midnight tonight. Well, we're going to head to the outer tables because there is a huge all-in. It's John Jawanda against Simon Matson. All of the money has gone in on the flop. It's set over set. A set of 8s for Jawanda, a set of 5s for Matson. No 5 on the river. So Matson, an online qualifier from Sweden, is just verifying who has who covered here. This is a massive pot. This could actually decide the chip lead.
Matson just got stapled. Staples.
And the dealer's verifying it, but Matson is covered. We've lost a player. Simon exits in 52nd place, cashing for nearly 25K. And John Jawanda will now have 2.5 million in chips. He is second on the leaderboard. And we're joining this hand on the river. Let me just bring you up to speed. And obviously, we're not going to know these guys' whole cards at this stage. On the turn, Kalidou So used 3 of his time bank cards. Now, he's checked this river. The board, by the way, is King 8-6-5 deuce, and that is a big bet from Shafikov. In fact, he's all in. He has shoved the river. A reminder, the board, King 8-6-5 deuce.
Do you think using 3 time bank cards is a little more telling than just tanking back in the day, as in 2 events ago?
It's kind of saying that you don't have that strong of a hand.
Right, you have a difficult decision.
So it might make your opponent play at you a little bit more on the river, possibly. These are the things you should be thinking about when you use more time bank cards.
So remember, the cards are deducted automatically. We can see So's shot clock running there. Reset, so we're now on one of his cards. He played 3 of them on the turn. That means he's got 3 left on the river.
I mean, it has to be legit, too, because who's burning through 3 time bank cards in the first half hour?
Yeah, he's really thinking about this one.
Must be on card number 2 by now. Yola's on it.
I think if you use all of your time bank cards in one hand, you should have unlimited time bank cards for that hand.
No, you were being counted down. That was his final card, by the way. He was being counted down to 0.
I mean, it kind of is what I'm saying, is that, like...
Luke has been called over to make a ruling here. The official ruling is his hand is dead. Yola was clearly counting him down to 0.
Wow.
He's used all of his time bank cards. That was the countdown to making his final decision.
Countdown to 0 is like if somebody calls time on you. When he goes to 0, then you're out.
Yep, that's the correct ruling. Hand's
Okay.
dead.
Well, luckily there wasn't...
Oh my, did you see that?
No.
Shafikov showed ace-7. He had ace-high.
Oh.
Look, I love Kalidou So. Look, just accepts the fact his hand is dead, smiles, taps the table. What a guy. Kalidou's so cool.
So Buckley still holding on to the tournament chip lead, just ahead of John Jawanda. Buckley playing 2.67 million, 133 big blinds. Hand number 15, blind still 10,000, 20,000. Action will be on Yuri Horak from the Czech Republic. He's folded. Jamie O'Connor's out. The short stack, Salim Charati shoves for his last 14 big blinds with ace-jack of hearts.
He's getting another shot with ace-jack. This time, suited.
Ongyan Dimov has pocket tens on the button.
He's getting looked up.
I like to see Dimov just call here. His opponents in the blinds have a lot of chips, so you don't want to risk them all for no reason.
Just a call from Dimov.
Double call.
Ali Tariq Looks interested in the small blind. He's got jacks.
Whoa, pocket jacks.
What is the play here, Randy?
I think Tariq just needs to go all in here. It's just too strong of a hand. You've only got 40. You got 43 big blinds. It's a lot of big blinds, but if your opponent Dimov ever has a hand like 10s and 9s and ace queen, like, you just need to go with this hand.
But if he has queens and kings, does he play it the same way? Does he just call?
He would probably play the same way, and that's the thing. That's the tricky part. It's just that jacks does so well. I think ace queen, you can pitch it pretty easily. But jacks is actually a big favorite against certain hands like 10s and 9s. We'll see what he thinks.
He does shove for 855K. And Dimov has asked for a count. Well, whatever you do, don't do a Caladu so and let your time run out.
This is a pretty tough spot for Dimov. He's already put in 280,000.
Are you gonna triple up? Flip up? You feel it? If you're gonna triple. Life will tell me. You have to feel it. Life will tell me.
I think in this spot, he really only beats ace king. I don't think he should expect his opponent to shove ace queen. The thing is, he put in so many chips. It's not a crazy amount more. It's a tough spot. If he ever thought his opponent would shove ace queen, then he would want to make the call, but I don't think he can do that. This is very deep in a big tournament.
There's the call.
Boom, boom, boom.
So Dimov puts two players at risk, but he is behind. It's not looking good, by the way, for Salim Charati.
This might be the three most similar looking men in a three-way all-in we've ever seen.
Easy. King, queen. Ace, ace, ace.
Look at all that facial hair.
Ali Tariq,
You surprised me you call with the pocket 10, bro.
54% favorite to get a near triple up.
No, I will tell you later.
Charati only 26% to survive.
Terus grupo still pan Dimov.
Okay, just.
Two players all in. Dimov has them both covered, but it's Tariq with the best hand.
See if Anyan can find a 10 hiding in the attic.
Ooh. I take the 8 of heart.
Flush draw for Charati. Equity increases to 38%.
4 of hearts, I like it also. 8 of 4. 4 of hearts.
Turn card. It's a 10! The 10 of clubs!
Okay, now I
Anyan.
need a 4 of hearts. 9 of hearts. 8 of hearts.
Dimov now a huge favorite to eliminate two
Do it.
players.
Do it one time.
Jack of spades.
Tariq needs the case jack.
Do it.
Charati's looking for a heart that doesn't
Okay.
pair the board.
Jack of
It's okay.
spades.
Do it.
Jack of spades.
8 of hearts. 4 of hearts.
It's the deuce of clubs, and that is a full house for Onyan Dimov. The Deauville
Can I give
2015
him my time back?
champion takes out two players in one hand.
Anyan. Unbelievable.
Meanwhile, we did mention that it's the first day of the 10K high roller. We heard the shuffle up and deal a few minutes ago. And among the players competing in that 10K event, Sergio Garcia. We can see him just by the water cooler in the black cap.
Sergio Garcia's nose playing in the 10K event. I'm going to send him a shot of tequila.
And 38 starts with the action on Jamie O'Connor. He folds under the gun. 4 deuce for Jedlichka. He mucks. 10 of hearts for Mark Buckley. Start of day chip leader. Now outside the top 5. Still has 2.5 million. He's not complaining.
Not a bad position to be in with just under 100 big blinds at this stage.
Fairly tight fold though, with the 10-8 of hearts. Definitely going to see some players opening off his stack.
Well, this guy is the chip leader. Ongyon Dimov, 5-4 of spades. That's a raise from the cutoff. King Jack of spades for Khaled So.
Playing about 27, 28 big blinds. I think this is mostly going to be a call against an aggressive player in the cutoff. Keep some dominated hands in, play a pot in position.
Three seconds. I think he verbally announced call and is now finding the chips to make the call. So round to Yuri Horak in the big blind. He folds, heads up to the flop. Dimov, the pre-flop aggressor, so with the best hand and the advantage of position. The flop is ace, ace, jack.
Fairly strong flop for So. Obviously, he knows he's up against a wide range. Chip leader in the cutoff's going to be opening lots of suited connectors, lots of hands in general. So he'll feel pretty good about it.
Dimov continues. Now, Khaled So is a player who does like to take his time over his decisions, but he is out of time bank cards. He's got 30 seconds per street. Here he elects to call the 40K, and this hand is going to the turn.
Almost always a situation where he'll just want to call. His opponent's got a wide range, and he'll want him to keep betting.
9 of spades gives both players flush draws, but Dimov is officially drawing dead. His flush draw is no good. So has bigger spades.
Could be an okay spot for a barrel. He picks up some equity. He can still fold out hands like King Queen and King 10. Maybe even try and target a jack for a fold over 3 streets.
185,000. Khaled So, the effective stack, with 629K behind, which translates into roughly 25 big blinds.
This is not an ideal time not to have any more time banks.
I think at this point, obviously with his equity, he's almost certainly calling. But there's going to be a very difficult decision on a lot of river cards. If he gets triple barreled here on a brick river with only 30 seconds in the time bank, is he going to be able to call his hand?
And Dimov is the kind of player who will absolutely exploit that, who will absolutely look to take advantage of being able to put his opponent under pressure. Well, it's the king of clubs. So improves to aces and kings.
His hand, if Dimov jams, is largely similar than if he had a jack, because if Dimov shoves river, he's going to have an ace or better. Obviously, Queen 10 gets there, which takes out some of Dimov's bluffs. Wow.
Dimov bluff shoves the river. It is all in to call for Khaled So. He's got 30 seconds to make his decision.
And you'll notice Dimov shoves very quickly, and that's probably to restrict the time So has to think about it.
And So used about 5 seconds off his clock before folding. Dimov up to 3.6 million. Khaled So has now dropped below the 20 big blind mark. 145 big blinds for our chip leader. Right now we are 5 tables. Today we aim to play down to the final 2 tables. Action here on the main stage. Folded to Khaled So, the table short stack. Ace, queen of diamonds with 12 big blinds. Now he did a standard open with aces, didn't get any action. Will this be a shove?
I would only ever be shoving here rather than raising, but maybe if he's raising hands as strong as aces, he also wants to mix in some hands like ace-queen suited as well. I'm not sure.
Well, that's the thing. In isolation, I would say just move all in. But given that he just went for a smaller raise the hand previously, should he do the same again? He's not. He's opted just to shove his hand for 12 big blinds. Much more standard of a play.
Folded to Mark Buckley in the big blind, who's got ace-9.
So with just under 1,000 under 13 big blinds, this is a pretty close spot.
Now we saw Buckley take what was a very marginal spot before with a 10-9 offsuit. He's just getting a count to see if he's going to go with his ace-9. If he does, he'll be in big trouble. But he's certainly going to be ahead of some hands in So's range that shove.
Well, you would imagine at this point that he shoves all of his suited broadways, a decent amount of his suited ace-x hands, a lot of pairs. So I think ace-9 is going to be a reasonable call here, depending on what his image is of So.
He's even going to shove like 8-9 suited as well, right, for 12 bigs?
Maybe a little bit much.
7-handed? Occasionally. Not a huge consideration, though.
Yeah. I mean, he's, you know, 10-9 suited, Jack-9 suited. Hands like this, he will dominate. I think if he's ace-10, he's called by now. Ace-9 just on the border.
Playing time bank cards to extend his clock.
I think at this point, if you're So, you're actually really looking for the call, because if he has ace-king, you know, he's snapped. If he has any pairs that are reasonable, he's snapped. So you're hoping that he's not thinking of a hand like pocket 3s, pocket 4s, and it is a hand exactly like this where he's dominated. So So's going to feel pretty comfortable at this point and be hoping to see the call from Buckley.
And we do see it.
Buckley calls, putting So at risk, but it's domination nation in favor of Kalidou So. Great spot for him to double up and get back into this game.
And Buckley victorious in his last all-in. Will need some luck to win this one. He's about 22%.
Here comes the flop.
Wow.
9 high. Domination rotation. Kalidou So now at risk. A former main event champion looking for his second title on the ropes, on the verge of elimination, unless he can spike a queen on the turn or river.
One card to come. Huge problems for our champion from Prague. Former EPT winner.
3 cards he can hit. The river is a jack. Close but no cigar, and Kalidou So exits the EPT Barcelona main event in 37th place. He cashes for 30,150 euros. Action here has been folded to the blinds. Mark Buckley in the small completes. Ognian Dimov has...
Did Buckley give that hand back?
He's got ace-9 again, hasn't he?
I'd be very surprised if we see similar action, though. Both of these guys blindly blind. Over 125 big blinds deep, effective. It is going to be a raise from Dimov with the Jack-8 suited.
2 biggest stacks at the table here.
I think Buckley wisely just treading carefully here.
Dimov's raise was to 85,000. Buckley makes the call. It's a 9-7-4 flop. Buckley with top. Dimov with a gut shot.
And this is about where Dimov would like to be, having raised pre-flop. He's got a nice continuation bet. The backdoor 7 of spades, wrapping around that, very good for him. Obviously the gut shot to the 10. He'll continue his aggression.
I would argue that he would have probably preferred like 9, 10, queen, all spades.
Yeah. If you're ranking flops, that one's up there. But, you know, this is okay.
Continuation bet of 60,000 called by Buckley.
Wow.
10 on the turn. That's the straight for Dimov.
If you're Dimov now, you got to be thinking, how can you get as many chips in the middle as possible? This is a card that's going to be pretty good for Buckley's range. It's a card that he's going to make some 2 pairs on. He could have 8-6 suited himself. He could even have 8-6 off maybe. So you're going to be looking to size up here. It's not a turn that you're going to be betting all that often, so you kind of want to go a little bit more polarized and bet big when you are going to bet, I feel.
Right, and from Buckley's perspective, Dimov's still going to be barreling here with hands like Queen Jack and King Jack and King Queen that pick up a straight draw and, you know, with another overcard on the turn. So I'd be very surprised if he's willing to let ace-9 go just yet.
So Buckley is officially drawing dead. He calls the 225,000. This hand going to the river. The deuce of clubs.
If I'm Dimov, I am going very large in this spot.
It's definitely a spot once you get check called twice on this board. Your opponent, I mean, Buckley is still going to have some 10s. He's going to have hands like 10-8 suited, Jack-10 suited that call the flop. And even his 9s, like I say, Dimov's an aggressive player. He's still going to be bluffing diamonds, Queen-Jack, King-Jack, King-Queen, all of these hands. So it's really, really difficult against aggressive opponents to want to fold a hand as strong as ace-9.
It'll be interesting to see Dimov sizing here. There's 765,000 in the middle. The green chips are 25K, the white chips are 100K. It's a tower of green.
That is the pot. I think 750.
Whites on top. Has he bet full pot? $750,000, near enough.
This is a tricky spot for Buckley. I will say, though, that on the flop, he's going to have hands like 10-8. He's going to have hands like Jack-10. He is going to get to this river with some better hands. But with his hand, he doesn't really block any of the bluffs that Dimov's likely to have. I don't think he's going to fire off 3 streets with ace-high diamond. So it's a pretty good bluff catcher. And with everything bricking on the deuce of clubs river, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the call.
I really think he almost has to call.
And
because if you start adding in hands like Queen-8, King-8, you know, 8-5, if he's being really, really aggressive, if he's bluffing all of his 8x, maybe those broadways we spoke about, Jack-Queen, King-Jack, King-Queen, any backdoor diamonds he might have, then he's just going to have a load of bluffs in his range that you might have to call a 9.
And of course, we did see Dimov pulling the trigger with the 5-4 spades. And at this point, I'd imagine that Buckley might have got news about that hand. He knows he's capable of pulling the trigger in these spots. But at the same time, if you call all of your 9s, he has called.
Yes, he throws in chips and loses another 750K to Onyan Dimov. And that's going to put some distance between these two.
Only.
Wow.
That is a monster pot at this stage.
Onyan Dimov up to 4.3 million. Mark Buckley drops down to 2 million. Well, we're heading to one of the outer tables where Ben Pollock is all in. Pollock has shoved pre, and the decision is on Rodrigo Marquez, who makes the call on their backs. Pollock shows pocket 5s. Marquez has ace-8 of diamonds. The flop is all diamonds. Nut flush for Rodrigo Marquez, and that will do it for Benjamin Pollock, eliminated in 33rd place. Cashes out for just over 30K, and we are down to 4 tables.
That's how you win a race.
Day 4 action continues with myself, Uncle Daddy Joe Stapleton, and this beautiful fool, Randy Nanonoko-Lou. Hey, buddy.
Adorable fool is more like
Adorable, beautiful, all of the above. So happy to be in the booth with this genius, which I say both sincerely and sarcastically at the same time. Those were your feature table chip counts. We are down to 32 players in this event. 1,931 began. It was a 5,000 euro buy-in. 1 optional re-entry, which about 30% of the field took advantage of. Randy, you were in for 10K, weren't you?
Me included.
Yeah, Randy was one of them. Bumping up the prize pool, contributing to that 1.6 million euros for first place. We do have action back underway. 4 tables remain. You love that movie, Conan? Marius Conan.
Yeah.
Raising 2 10s. Oliver Weiss, probably Weiss would be my guess since he's German. I'm just going to mix it up. That way sometimes I'll be right at least. He's calling with 2 6s. Buckley started the day as chip leader. He's now 4th at this table. He's going to defend his big blind with Jack-7.
Oh, look at that. Set over set
Another
again.
set over set. Everybody getting stapled.
Conan top set. We'll see if he decides to continuation bet or try and get tricky. If he does continuation bet, he can easily get all the chips in on the flop.
The only real shame would be for Mark Buckley to somehow lose more chips in this pot. That's unnecessary. For Vice to lose some more, totally necessary. Nothing you can do. It was great playing with you. It was nice having this one hand.
Well, you know, if he just calls here in position trying to slow play, there are some cards where he might slow down, like club. So we'll see what he opts to do. I actually wouldn't fault him for just calling, actually, because he wants Buckley to continue with some hands, but
no,
he just folds.
Queen of clubs on the turn. A couple of clubs may slow down the action.
They are pretty deep stacked. I don't think Conan likes to see the club either. Both players are thinking, please pair to board, please pair to board. I like to see him continue betting here because he's out of position. Doesn't want to give a free card to a random club.
$270,000 the bet.
Got a set of sixes here. Is he just going to call or move all in here? I mean, there's merit to both.
So Randy, do you move all in to protect your hand to get value out of a single club, or do you check for deception / maybe you're beat already? Maybe.
I usually would just call here. I find that if I shove.
Not check, excuse me, call, yeah.
I find that if I shove all in, I'm only getting called by a flush. The bad part about just calling is you can let a random club get there.
Right.
So I can see the pros and cons both ways. I usually would just call here, which is what he does. With regards to 3.
So the river's a brick, and I guess that's a bad card for Weiss?
Yeah, it's a bad card for him. My point of view is if I'm Conan, yes, my opponent can have a flush, but if I'm planning to check, call, bet anyways, I might as well bet it myself so my opponent can't make a tight check back of, say, like Queen 10, for example. So I would be betting again if I'm Conan.
Right, so your rationale is that if you're going to call this, Weiss has 730 behind.
Yep.
Less than pot. So if you got to call anyway if he shoves on you. So you might as well make a bet here.
Yeah.
And not let him check behind. Conan does opt to bet all of it. Now the flip side here is that he does give Weiss the opportunity to fold.
Correct, he does, but with a set of sixes, it's pretty hard to fold, especially the way the run out is there's an overcard and a club, which is a very scary card, a card that a lot of people would continue betting with. King Jack, Ace King, 1 club, Ace Jack. There's so many of these types of hands, and it looks like you have like a 10 in your hand, maybe pocket 9s of a club. So your hand actually looks pretty weak here. Set of sixes is pretty strong the way the hand's been played. Like if you're folding this hand, you're basically saying I'm folding everything but a flush. And this is a shot clock tournament, so he needs to figure out quickly what to do.
And one thing I think a lot of players, Weiss probably is, but a player like me who's not very, you're not even thinking about being beaten by other hands that aren't flushes. That is the call.
One better.
One better is correct. Set of sixes pipped by a set of 10s. And that is it. Oliver Weiss is out of here. 32nd place.
Well, let's take a look at one of our 2 outer tables. Ognian Dimov is one former EPT champ. Here's the other looking for his second EPT title, John Jawanda. And the man sat to his left is former Poker in the Ear superfan, Andres Korn. I'd like to tell you that he won his seat in Barcelona by spinning up a satellite ticket. He won in Superfan versus Stapes. but he actually bought in directly. Pocket sevens for Peter Nijinsky. Oloduk, King 8. No. Dimov on the button. Chip leader passes. Short stack Muradov, 9 big blinds.
And if he's folding ace-9, then that jam, you would imagine, is fairly strong. It's a very similar hand, opened into from early position. It is strong. Ace-queen.
All in from the small blind with the big blind folding. There's the call from Nijinsky, and once again we are flipping a coin.
And good luck me.
Good luck me. At least he's honest.
Today.
Spanish commentator's going to explode if he hits an ace or a queen here.
Can already feel it building.
Apologies in advance for the noise you will hear. We're doing everything we can to control them, but we can't contain them.
Ace on the flop.
The flop is King 6-3, and the Spanish don't like it.
We have a queen. On turn.
They've 6-8 twice to save their guy.
He's not even their guy. It's a long story.
The heart on the turn reduces his chances of staying in this tournament.
Of course, Nijinsky has the 7 of hearts in his hand. It's got to be the non-heart ace or queen on the river. It's a deuce, and that will see Shakabidin Muradov eliminated in 24th place. And who are the Spanish going to care about now? The guy who looked like one of the commentators' granddad is gone.
So Nijinsky raising. And unfortunately for Holland, he is not even live.
It's pretty unlucky when you've got 9-7 of spades, 2 big blinds, and you decide to put in and you find yourself dominated. It's going to be a hand that's just live so often.
I agree, pretty unlucky. Only a 30% chance he survives this hand. Otherwise, we're going to be down to 22 here at EPT Barcelona 2018. The flop, jack on the flop, that is going to be very difficult with no spades and a backdoor straight draw.
Don't forget about the running 7s.
Right, hey, right, it is always coming 7. Is it going to be? No. That is drawing deed on the turn.
We're going to have 22 players remaining.
That is it for all of you. It is not coming 7 this time. We have got another all-in and call here. George Hanna versus Jamie O'Connor. Somehow he's not Irish. Ace-queen for Hanna, kings for O'Connor. Ace on the flop, however. That is gross. The turn is an 8, so we're gonna need a king for O'Connor to survive. He is the player at risk. No king. O'Connor is out. O'Connor is out. Spent a lot of time at the feature table today. Coming up a little short. Eliminated for 50,000 euro. Hand number 132. 21 players remain of the 1,931 who started. Petra Zelka all in from the cutoff with ace-queen. To Kirby in the small blind with ace-10. Petra Zelka all in for 11 and some change big blinds, as Fenton would say. To Kirby calls. Dima folds the big. So it's domination nation. However, the player at risk is the player in front. 70-ish% chance Petrzelka doubles up. Very tense moment. We're getting deep in this thing, the business end. The next elimination ladder's up. That's ace 8-9.
Some
Kirby.
decent backdoors possible.
Yeah, he's got backdoor clubs, backdoor straight. Crucial turn card for Kirby. Also can still hit a 10. Oh boy. The back door is halfway open. Will it slam shut? Or will it catch the wind? The river. It is always coming. 7. Ace 10 manages to do him dirty. Petrzelka out in 21st place. Out in the field, Andres Korn, former superfan on the podcast, hosted by myself and James Hardigan. Poker in the ears. He's all in and at risk. Ace 7 versus Pedro Marquez's Queen 10. Jack 9, 6, 2 diamonds. So ace is ahead still for now. That's an up and down draw. And that is a straight on the turn. Nope, that's a pair of 10s on the turn. And 3 10s on the river. Straight 3 10s, doesn't matter. That's gonna do it for Andres Korn. Challenged me to World Cup trivia when he was a guest on Poker in the Ears and shellacked me. Congratulations to Andres, out of here in 20th place. 19th place, I think, actually. 59,940 euro.
John Jawanda is all in and at risk. He's got it in with ace-queen against George Hanna's king-queen. So Jawanda at risk but ahead, dominating his opponent here. Ace-queen for the 2015 Barcelona champ, king-queen for George Hanna. Let's deal out the board. It's queen high. Hold on, Jawanda's got ace-king, not ace-queen. He's behind. Jawanda needs a jack or an ace on the river to survive. It's an ace on the river. Thank you, Barry Greenstein, for delivering Jawanda's winning hand.
An intense Barry G for the Justice River. John Jawanda will not only stay alive, he's going to double up.
Enrico De Rosa drawing dead on the turn. He's eliminated in 17th place, cashing out for 69,340 euros. We are down to 16. As previously stated, we are going to play out the rest of this level. John Jawanda in the hijack. Starts the hand with 33 bigs. He has ace-queen. And he raises. Jawanda opening to 135,000. Pocket nines for Marius Conan.
What's your play here, Benj? Are you going to look to play for stacks? Are you going to flat call? Are we going to shove?
34 big blinds deep. Might be a situation where you start thinking about 3-bet calling the hand, especially versus hijack open. can definitely get behind a call with these stack depths as well, though. Time bank would indicate he's thinking about his options, which I wouldn't imagine include fold.
He shoves.
All of the chips in the middle for Conan and his 2 9s.
Just over 2 million.
Oh, and Markish behind with the kings.
He reshoves.
Wow, he acts relatively quickly there as well.
A very quick rejam all in. Jacks in the small blind.
What is going on?
Wow, what a sick spot.
It's all into call for Nijinsky. Markish is the table chip leader. He shoved on everyone.
I love that Marquez just shoved here, because if he just calls, maybe, you know, gives away the strength of his hand, he's going to shove here with all of his hands like ace king, ace queen, if he does want to play for stacks. This is a really tough spot for the jacks.
Now Nijinsky starts the hand around 77 big blinds deep. Now importantly, that is heaps of chips. Does he want to risk his tournament life?
Throw the ladles back in the pot. Not the pot with the chips in. The metaphor didn't work.
Listen, it's very easy for it to say with the cards up, but I do think at this point of an EPT, you just have to fold.
He has folded. Is someone going to wake up with queens? Anyone got tens?
Hand too, but I'm not gonna call now.
It's queen?
I have ace queen.
So Jawanda gets out of the way, Conan at risk, and dominated by those kings of Markesh.
For sure it comes an ace now.
Stars notes against the pocket kings, aka the Kevin Cleans.
That time, final table bubble or something, before the kings, remember?
When?
The year you won.
Oh, yeah.
Against Worbs.
Yeah.
That was sick.
That was a bad call.
Pourquoi pas? That was so sick though. It
But
could have came an ace though.
It was a...
You never know, it could have came an ace and you could have been out.
Yep.
So you fold and you
out
won,
right.
so it was right. Appelle-le, tu sais. Appelle-le.
It was a good final table. Yeah. So I tried to be a little bit more conservative.
No ace.
Oh, I would have won against a 9.
Je suis pas les trèfles. You call it. 9 de cœur.
Conan drawing to a 9.
9 de cœur.
Clubs don't help him.
It's not fair.
Needs a 9 for a lifeline.
2 outs. The river card is a 6.
Good game.
And that is the elimination of Marius Conan in 16th place.
Yeah, you would have lost.
That's sick.
No ace of clubs.
Huh?
Markesh in the small. Limps in with ace deuce.
How much do you have?
Nijinsky in the big checks his option.
1.75.
Thank you.
How about you?
2.5.
With Jack 4, and it's an 8-4-4 flop. Nijinsky with trips.
And a huge flop for him. It's Marquez who starts with a check. He's got ace high. Won't be too unhappy to try and get closer to showdown. Not going to be easy though. Nijinsky reaching for chips.
75,000.
Very standard call here for Marquez. Don't see much merit to ever raising here.
Ten of diamonds on the turn, has Marcus drawing dead. Checks a second time. I imagine Nijinsky might go for a little bit more value.
And wouldn't be surprised to see Marquez call again. It's very easy when it's a limped pot and you've just checked in the big blind to start firing into your opponent. So he can reasonably expect Nijinsky to be bluffing 5-7s and 6-7s and Jack-9s and 7-9s and heart combinations. There's plenty of bluffs around. Ace-high has decent showdown value.
And Nijinsky going big on the turn, nearly full pot, 300k into 330k.
I think what he's doing here, he's kind of polarizing himself. Like, he's never going to have an 8 for this size. He can definitely have some 10s that bet the flop and now they've turned it, but more often than not, he's just saying I had over 4 or I have air, and there's a lot of bluffs out there.
Markish calls. 5 on the river.
5 river makes things a lot more difficult for Markesh because we just spoke about all those potential bluffs. Well, the hearts just got there. 6-7 just got there. Hands like 5-7 and 5-6, which are natural bluffs with the gut shot on the flop, might slow down now they make a pair.
You ever see Markesh turn his hand into a bluff versus a smaller sizing?
It's possible because some of the time he is going to check call the flop with the nut flush draw, in that he has ace-high for showdown value and keeps some flush draws in his check call range on the flop, so he could reasonably represent a flush. I don't think it's a river, as I just said, where a few of the bluffs get there, be it for a straight or make a pair. I don't think it's a river he's going to want to call.
So Nijinsky's gone for 650,000, 2/3 pot. Markesh buying time.
I mean, on the 5 of hearts, it's just so hard for your hand to be good now, right?
You'd think so. You'd have to dig really deep and start finding
Draw at 10 minutes.
queen 9s and jack 7s and queen jacks and all of these hands, some of which might even raise pre-flop.
Yeah, okay.
Not all are going to barrel 3 streets. The 5 of hearts is a particularly awkward river.
Wow!
What?
He's pulled the trigger.
Markesh announces all in, turns his hand into a bluff, and Nijinsky now in a horrible spot.
And now it becomes incredibly difficult for the 4, because who bluffs here?
He's even got the jack of hearts in his hand. He blocks so many of the boats. This is a crazy bluff with
He
the 2
can
of
certainly
hearts.
slow play some pocket 8s, some, 4-5 even, maybe pocket 10s.
He's folded! He's laid it down!
You'll see it later.
Oh, sicko!
You'll see it later.
And that will see Pedro Markesh move over the 9 million mark. 9.3 million chips, more than 150 big blinds, more than double the average stack with 14 remaining. A ridiculous bluff that works. Day 4 drawing to a close, and John Jawanda has ace-king under the gun.
Why do you want to cash the button?
He announces all in. This is a 30 big blind shove.
Quite a few chips.
On the blind increase.
Well, we just spoke about things being profitable, but not necessarily most profitable. It's going to make chips in the long run, open shoving ace-king, but you'd think with a hand that strong, you might look to induce a little bit more action.
Yeah, 1.7, right?
Just go with the flow tag. Onion Dimov is in the big blind with pocket 7s.
Ooh. I do not expect to see a call. It's a weird one because obviously Jawanda is unlikely to have hands like 9s, 10s, jacks, but at the same time, I don't think he's going to open shove 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s. Like, that's a range that you tend to put people on. So it might be more like 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, and ace-king, ace-queen if he's going to try and range him in a spot where you don't see this very often, an open shove for 30 big blinds into this many opponents.
Wait, who's a button right now? Oh, but don't you want to play the small blind first? Because the blind's going to be up tomorrow. I don't understand.
Are you stalling, or are you really thinking about that? That's kind of not nice to do that, you know?
Why not?
Look, it's gonna be my big blind next time, and you think it's okay if somebody do that to you next time?
Oh,
we're not redrawing.
No, we're not redrawing.
Yeah, we're not redrawing, but tomorrow my blind will be
that's
going
fine.
higher.
No, I have a hand as well.
Okay.
It's all kicked off between the two former champs.
It's going to kick off a little bit more if he folds within a
What
second.
is show?
Sevens.
7.
Sevens.
Well, hang on. Something's just happened at the other table.
Yeah,
We can see Pesh de Silva walking off because he's just been eliminated by Fabiano Kowalski. De Silva got it in with 9s against a7, but there was an ace on the flop, and Fabiano Kowalski just eliminated De Silva in 14th place. Kowalski finishes the day with 8.7 million chips, so he's not quite chip leader, as De Silva cashes out for nearly 79k. It's Marques who's chip leader, and will be chip leader coming into day 5 with a stack of 9.15 million. Players concluded for day 4. It's time to bag and tag. So here are the stacks, the players we've been watching on our feature table, and how they equate into big blinds at the new level of 40-80. Marques, 9.15 million, 114 big blinds. John Jawanda not too comfy with 23 bigs. The same could be said for Ben Heath. Dimov on around 38 bigs. The action resuming for day 5, the day we play down to the final 6.
I'm half alive these days, half of me is wasted.